page 15. This is the airport operating income, TFCs. And in the third column, that is continuing, what that is charters that are considered commercial. And I got this from the FAA PFC sheet. I think that'll continue. We do count those passengers. So you can see Cape Air estimate on Allegiant. I did use 450. So you can see that's what the PFCs will amount to. And then parking revenue is net. And that's where the 281 comes from.
Wait, I'm trying to think with the FAA, when they do the employment accounting for your $1 million, was that done by November 1st?
It's tied to the federal fiscal year, which
Right,
is...
was November 1st or is that October
No, it's
1st?
October.
October 1st, okay.
I think it's tied to calendar year. The PFC reports that I get are calendar year.
Well,
There's always been a question about that, but.
here's what I'm saying here, whatever is, if you went to December,
Mm-hmm.
all right, you take Allegiant or Cape Air or whatever, you're gonna be pretty close to that 10,000. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
so if that's the case, that almost saves a year.
It does.
You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, to that point, if you were gonna be 100 short or something like that, you would want to influence flights to be able to get to that number.
You'd want to have the next meeting of the board in Florida.
Well, I knew somewhere, I'm not saying what airports, but they were out west, they did, they went for some plane rides.
Mhm.
They went
Right.
for some plane rides, whatever it want to be,
Right.
Rutland did something similar a couple of years ago.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think we need to be on to that number.
I think we need to get that clear with McFarland Johnson, but I believe it's calendar year.
How will the parking fees be taken care of? Will it be automatic? Will it be-
That's to be determined, I believe.
That's an excellent question. We have an RFP out there right now. We're waiting for proposals to come in, and it's gone out to, there are 5 or 6 major companies that deal with that. So there's. a
So
variety of
somehow, we
things.
have a cost that might be in this budget somewhere, and it might not be, and that would be how we collect these dollars. 281,000 is what we're going to collect. But there's
Nope.
been-
Nope, 184 is net
Excuse
revenue.
me.
It does say parking revenue, but it's net revenue.
Okay.
So what I have in another page, because I didn't want to put my calculations in here, because again, this is public.
Right,
We've got 5 people bidding, they might know what we're expecting.
I see.
So I've got revenue minus what I think their cost would be if we deal
So
with go that
somewhere
way.
in there, that's calculated.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's in there.
So that's net revenue. And how accurate it is,
Is how accurate your guess is.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
understand that.
exactly. Page 16 is the miscellaneous income. I've got it listed here, 14,000 from the bridge, 40,000 from the airport, 6,000, 15,000, that's a railroad income. This is where I included the admin charges on new cargo under MT miscellaneous, and then a surplus sale, 45,000. Then we're into expenses. First one being salaries. This is a busy page, page 17, but it shows the allocation percentages for each person. And it includes 2 new people, an airport manager and a compliance officer under the management. It changes titles under the support staff from principal stenographer to senior administrative assistant, secretary 1 to administrative assistant. It changes in the finance department an inventory control clerk to an account clerk, so that all 3 have the same title. This includes the CSEA agreement that you will be talking about later today. It includes the increases as prescribed by that. It includes another person on the temporary bridge crew for the summer. And it includes longshoremen in accordance to the business at the port. Total $2,546,000, and then it's divided among the bridge, marine terminal, industrial park, and the airport.
And you're building your airport manager in there.
Yes.
That's correct.
The overtime
Yes.
line item, that's just strictly for Steve's guys and not the longshoremen?
Yeah.
Because it's 47,000, and if, that really should be, if the longshoremen have overtime, that should be under the longshoremen
Mm-hmm.
line
Yeah,
item, right?
I tried to get the longshoremen costs all under that one line.
Okay, that's good, that's what I wanted. I want him to be able to, you
Right.
know, if he's gotta have overtime and the longshoreman takes some of that money out of that line item and he comes and says,
I know they would,
yeah, I wanna make sure that he's, you know,
Mhm.
all right.
Right. Any questions on that one?
Yes. Steve, I see here 30% of the bridge, 35 terminal, industrial park 15, 20. It seems to me we're missing another 15, 20% that you work over here. Is there any, because how did that come to 100%, Steve? That's what I don't know.
I can't answer that.
Right.
I added up, I'm going, those numbers aren't right.
Thank you.
Yeah, they only add up to 100%.
Yeah. That's just what you want to hear.
One of the things I was concerned with when we talked about the new positions was how we were going to fund them. And my guess is, as I look down through there, that at least for next year, it probably is going to be something to do with the increase in port activity. But that's only 1 year.
Mhm.
And if that doesn't occur, then we're looking at, well, once you throw benefits and all of that in there, I think calculated somewhere between 180,000, 200,000.
Mhm.
And I'm just still a bit apprehensive about the total. I know we have to have an airport manager. I'm just a little apprehensive as to how we're going to finance those positions. So I want just make my concerns felt that I'm not sure that if I had my druthers, that this would be exactly the way that we did it. I'd like to support the plans drawn up by the administrative team the best I can, but that's a lot of money in new positions with not a whole lot of ways that we are yearly going to bring that in. So I guess my hope is that as we take a look at adding these positions, that perhaps we add them as our successes mount, so to speak, not jump into them. I'm a bit skeptical about those positions right away and having the money to fund them. And we know that all the operations are expanding, so probably somewhere along the way they're going to be needed. I understand that too. But once again, I guess my surmise is that we're going to do it with the money from the wind project. Is that what your hopes are, or where's the new funding for these positions?
Well, as I stated at the outset, everything in the upcoming budget is dependent upon the port.
Right.
The bridge is down, as you saw in the beginning. Everything hinges on the port. And again, I'll throw that disclaimer out there.
Say if we hop out there and hire these positions right away, and that doesn't work, then, what do we do? Plan B.
I think one thing to think about is that we've made commitments to expand the airport. Someone's gotta manage that,
I'm with you.
regardless of whether.
I'm with you, you're
Yeah.
gonna get my vote on that one
Yeah, right.
right away.
I think something to think about here, what I think about when I put this page together, is look at toll collectors, $282,000. Last year it was 275, 272, something like that. And the bridge traffic from last year's budget is down 500,000, $499,000. That would pay for those toll collectors twice if our bridge traffic, so there's no way we can cut that cost. We have to have those people out there collecting the tolls, whether they collect it from 200 cars or from 400 cars. That person's got to pay it. That's something, that without that 500,000 gone, we could do a lot of things. So, when we look at people like an airport manager who we need because of the commitments we've made at the airport, it's hard to pay for that person, and that's the main reason why, is because we're down 500,000 in revenue on the bridge, but our toll collectors are up from last year according to the CSEA contract. That's a bigger factor than anything else, as far as wages are concerned. In my opinion, seeing these numbers every day and putting this budget together.
Steve, you want something?
Just one thing, when Wade and I were talking about this airport position, the way we're set up now, my time is charged, especially with port projects. We're getting that back. So
Let me make it
No.
very clear. I know we have to have an airport manager. I support that, and I want to end the budget. And I know all the reasons for it. I do not have a problem with that. That was never even part of my formula. I just think as we take a look at the idea of a compliance officer, I know those jobs are being done by other people. I know that sometimes overloads them at the hard times. I think it's something that we might need in the future, but I also just honestly believe that that airport manager is going to need some support. You're drawing that from some of the people that we have, that you also could be drawing that support from other people, and you could be drawing the support for the compliance officer and doing it in a different way until we see our way clear to fund those projects. The other thing that I know we need that help in the front office here. I see the way you're trying to run it now. I know that you had difficulties doing that too. I'm just not ready to commit another $100 and some thousand at this particular point to get, somewhere where maybe we can look at it in a different way. But just my apprehensions, and I just want to make it clear that they haven't changed, because I don't see where we're going to be generating enough new revenues to cover all of that. But I know the necessity of an airport manager, and I know that since we've made the commitment, I as well as everybody else, that we need to move forward, expand the airport, then we need to commit to that. But just that I have apprehensions about it, and reviewing it once again, that may not be the way the other people feel about it. Just, that's the way I felt about it from the beginning. And when you were building the budget, I said to you, those exact things that I will be interested to see how we're going to fund that many dollars of new positions.
One other thing that you mentioned last time as well was an evaluation of the finance department. We have moved forward with that and have retained SciTech to do some preliminary looking at that department. And I believe they're here next week.
Yes. Yep. Moving, any other questions on page 17?
Well, I want to go back to, Steve's skepticism, I think I agree what you say, Steve, that we all engulfed in the whole thing in this budget process. Whatever, my concern is when you travel new roads, you need to have people that take you down the least traveled road. And I'm really concerned of this new road that we're on to is so delicate, I don't wanna make any mistakes that we need to do. And sometimes it's, I use you, Steve, I mean, the wear and tear, whatever, you know, I really believe that airport manager is an important element to make this be fundamentally a successful project. I mean, if you start off poorly, you end up poorly. And I'm not sure of the marketing part or the way the operation is run, whatever, so there's a lot to this. And I think Steve's so right is, how can you fund all this stuff if you don't know exactly what you got? There's no question about it. So, go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
anything else? Page 18. This is the benefits. Health insurance is up, and mostly because I've provided benefits for those 2 additional employees, and I did it at the family rate. Who knows what rate they might need? You know, they might be single people, who knows? Retirement is what we pay to the state. FICA is based on the wages. Workers' comp is higher, mostly again because of the rate on longshoremen. Same way down through, you see the ILA, health and welfare, up significantly, and you know why that is. Then as you go down in the middle of the sheet is the way I allocate it. I have the wages, then I have the wages with no ILA, and that's in order to allocate all of the benefits other than health and welfare. And then there's allocated, and then the total benefits you can see are the same for each, the bridge, the airport, industrial park, and then the marine terminal are a lot higher because then they get that health and welfare. Kind of down there, but the main driver of that increase from last year is increased wages due to increased work. Maintenance expenses, I have the details here, I didn't include them, but they are up from last year, all based on need. Steve provided all that information in detail. Again, I have it here, and I can make copies of this if you wish to see it, but it gets down to each category of maintenance and so on, as you remember. Any questions about maintenance? Steve, you're adequate with what you provided, aren't you?
Yeah, and just those numbers, like, in my head, I just don't know how to explain them all there, if anyone has any questions.
Okay.
Did you get another mower?
Huh?
Did you ask for another mower?
Yeah, a smaller one.
Okay. You're supposed to.
Page 20 is the bridge safety inspection. You can see how cold that is. Every other year we have the big one. And for this year, it's a big one. Page 21 is just in here. It doesn't give details of how I got to the 380, but that's pretty good. Page 22 is the fuel and utilities. This is the details of it. I hope it's high. You know, I didn't dare think that the price of oil was going to continue to go down. So I kept that pretty much flat. Next is insurance. All right, is there any questions? I'm moving right along.
I mean, we have the project, whatever, I mean, we're talking about the solar project. How many years will it take once we start it, and once we start to see the what do you call the savings from it?
Well, we have locked in rates for a period of, I'd have to review the contract.
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, 20 years.
it's a while.
What I'm just saying is, Where are we with that project? We still, is that in this budget anywhere? We don't know.
That project doesn't impact the budget in any way.
Okay.
We have a power purchase agreement with that. I did reach out and got a status update on the project itself. Larson Engineers and Grow Solar is going back and forth with National Grid, still trying to work out that
Okay,
issue.
so it's working its way. Okay.
In this, Steve, I was just looking, I don't see anything for gas, like gas for our vehicles and stuff.
That's, in the port fund and the bridge fund, that's under automotive.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
through New York State contract. So generally, that's, when you look at trends on that, it stays pretty.
Pretty consistent.
Depend on the fleet, but.
Okay, all right. I was just curious,
No.
I didn't
It's
see.
in his maintenance budget.
It's,
Okay,
yeah, I have to include the gallons.
yeah,
Or something, so we just put a number on that, and we do benefit from that, because like, I think it was last year, or the year before, when fuel dropped, we had it in there at a much
Higher
higher
rate.
thing, so, you know, if you take like a 3-year average, we're in pretty good shape even.
Okay.
But we've been keeping an eye on our usage and
all right.
things like that, but that's where that's at.
In the category bridge, is this building here?
Yes,
Huh?
yes,
That's this building?
this building in the garage.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I know we're not heating the bridge.
No, we're not hitting the bridge, no, no. Insurance, insurance is costly. I added 25,000 for the wind project. A lot of these we locked in for 2 years, so that's why they're the same this year as last year. 24, legal fees. Tough one to predict. Page 26, we're into the marketing budget, and John disappeared. No, he disappeared just in time.
Just in time.
But if you look on this page, on 26, you'll see that I put other promotional, that's Allegiant, that's 80, it's in the airport column. And again, I calculated that based on their contract. Is it right? It maxes at 100,000, so it can't be more than 20,000 wrong in that direction, but it gets based on passengers and income and stuff like that.
Let's have a quick side conversation about that money, just so everybody's clear on how this is. Allegiant will place the ads for all these things, they will bill us. We have no say, no control over that money. We're just strictly paying the bill, so I don't wanna throw out any misconceptions about that. It's just a reminder from the Allegiant deal.
And they do it based upon that contract, so they can't do $120,000 worth if they've only got $80,000 worth. And they can't go over, and if they go over 100, they're responsible for anything over 100.
Is that every year?
Is that, yeah, that's every year.
Tied right to pastures.
Yep.
Going into the,
You got
No, it was every year. I thought it was
page
just-
24, which was the legal fees before I.
Oh, okay,
asked
yeah.
the question, but
Yep.
if you don't mind just going back, and I mean,
Okay.
reading this wrong, but it seems that they've gone up, or they're running well above $100,000 for the
Yeah.
last couple of years. Why would we think that they would drop back down?
Oh,
Well, our exceptional items will be over. I'll give you an example. The CSEA contract is settled.
Okay.
The ILA contract, the issues will be substantially resolved,
Okay.
hopefully. with
Those
the-
make sense, okay.
The various, the old lawsuit, St. Lawrence Factory Stores is no longer there.
Okay.
There's one other that's no longer there that occurred in this year as well. That's
Okay,
scheduled to be
makes
come up.
sense, thanks.
Page 25 is the details of the 100,000. And on page 26 we're all set. Then the OMLC, that's all in the marine terminal. Again, I put it here because the OMLC is marketing, you know. Anyway, that's where it is. The next page, page 27, is the details of John's 165,000 portion of that 518,000. You can see, if you look on the bridge, I think, in answer to the question you had earlier, Steve, I don't see anything for those folks, McClellan folks.
Right, he said there wasn't anything
Yeah.
specifically targeted that we might look at it, but.
Yeah.
uh,
Okay. Page 28, other professional fees. You can see those down through here. Again, I have OMLC there.
That's Adam.
Yep.
That's what we're paying him right now.
Mhm.
Benefits, yeah. Well, you're buying the organization.
I know it's not
That's for him and his benefits.
Yeah, that's the OMLC ticket.
Yeah.
that we're paying.
Yes,
Yes.
each month, but we can charge that against new business at a rate of $85 an hour.
We,
And that'll show up in other income.
so, when this past ship came in,
Yes.
and we get X amount of dollars for it, do they put so much money towards the salary?
The way that sheet is set up, if you remember, is this is the revenue. The expenses for OMLC are that equipment that they brought.
Mm-hmm.
The expenses for us will be Steve's time, Adam's time, because we're paying, our equipment,
Excavator.
yeah, the excavators that we rent.
I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm
And
curious
then-
about the salary, if we're,
Yeah.
if we're getting any of that money back.
Yes, we get it back through that process.
That's the only
Yeah,
process
so
we
if-
get it
so
back.
if- Yeah, if Adam works, well, I think it's $85, but if it was $100 an hour, it would take 1,100 hours. So if he worked 40 hours on that ship, we'll get back 3,200 of it.
If I may make a suggestion, why don't we, on one of these ships, why don't we print out that form?
Yep.
And we'll sit down in an executive session, we'll go through it.
Yeah, we'll go through
And
it.
that
That'd
way
be
you
great.
can see it,
And
you
we'll
know
be-
how it
there's a
works, and
copy
that
to
way
you.
you'll
Yeah.
see it right
You'll
there.
have-
Discussed it before.
We did, but I just wanna make sure that, I know we're putting the money up front, but I wanna make sure that we're getting something back too.
Yes.
We're
Right.
putting the money out, we've hired them, I understand that. But if we're gonna start charging expenses, I wanna make sure that we get some of that money back that we're up front.
And we are.
And that way
Okay,
you can see it.
because
We are,
if
but we
not,
only get it with new business.
but if not, you take 113 and you make 200,000, you really didn't make 200,000 because we had to pay 113,000.
Right,
All right,
right.
okay.
The next one is other general expenses. This is, there's OMLC travel. So I've got this, see it, you'll see it
Page
before,
page you want to?
page 29.
Okay, I'm right.
Well, what's that travel? What's the OMLC travel? Is that,
That would be like when Bruce Graham comes here, or when Adam goes somewhere.
we have to pay for
Yeah,
that?
when I went to Chicago, that was in there,
Oh, I can
because
see
they paid
that, I
for
can
it.
see us, I
Yeah,
was just,
yep.
all right.
Right, and if Adam goes to Hamilton to check out a piece of equipment, when, you went with him, didn't you? That's in there.
Yeah, like I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
I'm
That's
just-
what's in there.
Just a quick side note on the schedule, one thing you're not used to seeing on page 29 is, about midway down the page, is E-Transit. That's our maintenance agreement on the new toll system.
Cool.
You can see Russ Coulter is on this page.
Yeah, he is on there.
Well, that made this thing with E-Transit.
Yes,
Is,
Now, if they come up here, do they have, I mean, it's parts, or is it just travel? Is it labor? Is it labor come out of here and then plus parts or something that we're gonna have to pick up too? There's always gonna be an expense to us, right? Above and
Yeah.
beyond this.
the first year, everything is under warranty,
Okay.
So-
Yeah,
there won't be any parts.
yeah.
After the first year, if there's a part, it'll be in addition to this.
So what do we really get out of it?
We get access to them. They will be able to fix most things from afar, or be able to tell Russ which screw to turn.
Okay.
The beauty of the E-Transit system as compared to what we currently have, E-Transit is more off-the-shelf components, where our current system For example, we just paid $1,600 for a Pentium 1 computer from 1985, basically, because we had to have it to keep our system running, because it was...
It's like an Atari
You
game.
gotta have-
I just-
Atari's back.
Better known as a doorstop.
I've been in situations where,
Got a heck
as
of a deal on
Cost
used
less
one.
back then than it did.
as an
no, for
example, if you pay that $34,000, then all of a sudden, at the end of the year, you paid 66 or 67, and then I always say to myself, why are we paying a, a fee, and when it's always gonna, increase more than what you're paying, and
Back to page 28 kind of quickly, because I thought it was on page 29. But, third up from the bottom on page 28 is the highway group that's in this budget. Just wanted you to be aware of that.
what's the high, was that the,
On 98.
we give them a $10,000 grant, or?
Yes.
I'd like to take that $10,000 out.
You're on record.
I know.
Well, why don't we talk about that for a second, Wade? That $10,000 is an investment for us to be up in information in regards to protecting highway system that will come to our bridge, and what else would...
The underlying logic is a highway anywhere in this area close to us increases our bridge traffic, and therefore it's within our mission and it's within our key interest.
Okay. Goes on, okay.
It's okay.
Well, I think it's valuable at this point in time.
Fifth up from the bottom is the airport strategic plan, which goes to one of the things that was said here today, how important that will be to us for our financing and so on. That's on page 28.
Oh, yeah.
2 up from the highway group, 5 up from the bottom. Page 30, we're getting now into the debt service.
Footnote's very important on this one.
So I left that 75,000 off the debt service. OBSI revenue bonds is a big thing, a big portion of our debt service requirements. And the key bank lease purchase is our annual payment. We have 5 of them for the new tolls system. Page 31 is the port debt service. We're still paying for building 14, about 1.1 million on that. Hoosier rent for land, I have the Hoosier rent as income. We don't get that money, it applies against the purchase of that land. So it's in income, it's also in debt service. We borrowed money from the IDA for the port access road. That will be paid off in about a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. The Allegiant loan, that's only 1 month, I believe, because the first 4 months, you don't have to make a payment. And then this OPBA, capital financing. From the capital page, remember we were gonna borrow money? This is to pay some of that back. That's it. If you'd like to look at the one that we handed out on the OMLC P&L. This revenue, these are from, that's a new salt customer.
Are you planning on talking about that one on camera?
Probably shouldn't, should we? Probably should not.
Well, they have it for information.
Yeah, that's for your information. Any questions, you can ask me about it. Expenses is a bit of a mishmash. Some are what we pay, some are expenses resulting from the new business.
But one of the things that I looked at when we took this venture is in regards to what our process was before,
Mhm.
and now what have we done with adding them to our business plan and what the difference has been. And so the number really is the difference of what they've created that we have not had the, I don't say the ability, but the
Opportunity.
the networking, the logistics that's created. Is that number what you would say is, would create that number? I mean, I
Yes.
don't mean to put John or anybody down in this situation, remember, but obviously, the business climate has changed, the way we're doing business has changed, and so OMLC has a different network that we haven't been had access to.
Right,
Is that correct to say?
yes.
And that's what you get for your investment.
Mhm. Now, remember that second line up, administration, you can see the number there. That number is the number that I included in our income, because that's paying for some of the costs that are here. Like my time, Steve's time, Wade's time, and Adam's time. That is up here on line 1, on the first line of the expense. So this administration is a cost to the OMLC P&L, but to us, that part is income.
These are hard numbers to get to.
Mm-hmm.
These are very hard numbers to get to.
Yep, yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
Well, it goes to show you exactly what your accounting departments had to change and go to from what we did before, and then it's gonna change again
Mm-hmm.
when the airport becomes an operation that creates revenue instead of being a liability.
That's right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, I congratulate the board, because the board really said, we wanna do things, and we wanna do things in a proactive way. And what comes with that is the idea is investment of time, extra money, and personnel to do what you wanna do. And this is what this budget has really put together. Obviously, we're stuck in a climate that we're dependent on the Canadian dollar, what it does in the business of that country. And I guess when we get all said and done, we will understand and respect it even more. When we're all said and done, exactly what our fellow neighbors have done for us and helped us where we want to do. And I guess that's we go from there. Question I have for you, Steve, is I want to talk about the leasing of the, what was it, L980 or whatever it is, whatever. What are we doing with that for the long haul?
We're renting it monthly as we need
What are
it.
the 980, was that the number?
Yeah,
on it?
we've used it for, right now, we're relocating
Right,
salt.
and I tell you, Wade took me over and I saw the big sides of the bucket, and it made significant difference, whatever it want to be. But what is the long-term look at this? Are we just going to
On
rent
page,
that one, or are we
on
going?
page 5,
I know,
on page 5, number 5, under capacity optimization is purchase of a cat 977 loader with an onboard scale. That's the plan.
Yeah,
977.
yeah.
Same bucket size?
Yep, you can,
Okay.
the sales people that we're talking to, they've had a significant decrease in cost. You drop down a model, instead of the 980, go 977, but you have the bucket is similar in size and weight, so the machine can handle that for what we do. We're not into super heavy, like dirt, so that you can size those buckets for salt, fertilizer,
Right.
potash, those type of things.
Okay.
So, and then we get an onboard scale, so we'd really increase the production there. But going back to the 980, right, it took care of, it worked round the clock all last week. It's working now, relocating salt. There'll be a spot in between where we'll have to move the potash into the building. And that's right out through this month. It'll be really utilized. And then we'll roll into the winter season where we're reducing truck time weights and everything by loading with that size. Now, if the 977 could show up in this budget year, we'd see what we do with that. We'd probably say that'll be our machine, and
Okay.
we'd say they could take it back. But just as the landscape is now, I need that right through, at least through end of March.
Okay. Well, what I guess my question to you is, cost savings versus labor savings and a revenue generator. Is that a fair way to say it? That having a better piece of equipment will do that? This equipment will pay for itself in its own way?
Yeah, and production wise, off the 980 right now, we're doing better than if I had that, whatever we're paying for that, I think it's $6,800 or $7,000 a month. I wouldn't be able to get that machine for that kind of money.
Okay.
So I've increased my productivity with that particular category of machine, that if I get it throughout the loading season, there'll be a savings there in labor and overall time for trucks in the port.
Well, I know Adam and OMLC showed you the difference of that equipment and the labor costs by having a 1/3 or 2/3 more, or
Right.
3 times, I should say,
Right.
bucket service. It'll pay for its own self in its own way.
And just as a side note, having that machine with the other two, we're able to move most of that salt directly to the conveyors and onto the pile for stockpiling the salt that's down there now. Whereas normally we'd have to hire 3 trucks and 3 men with it. So it'll take a little.
Truck rental, Steve?
Truck rental's $600 a day. So there's $1,800 a day plus the manpower at 8 hours to run them. We still make money doing it that way, but Adam and I have talked, we've closed that down for the travel times, and we can do that with loaders.
Yeah. You see what I learned here since I've been here is I look at that picture of the conveyor over there and main operation, who operated it, us owning it versus leasing it, whatever, and realized it didn't take long to figure out it paid for itself and became a generator of revenue, whatever. I mean, so a piece of equipment for $475,000, well, that's a big ticket item, but what you just said makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but we are able to charge back that loader
That's my
for
next
that
question.
week, for all of those hours. So in effect, if nothing was happening, we'd be paying, just to do salt, $7,000 for the
Okay.
month, but that'll all be mitigated by just the last week's worth of work.
Did you know I was gonna ask you that, did you?
Yes.
I was coming out of my mouth neck.
That's a monthly question.
It's amazing how the plan just comes together.
Karnak says,
I got him in that one.
Reel me in. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to hear.
You heard it last month too, I just want to tell you.
Yeah, I know that. But I want to repeat for whoever needs to be.
Thanks,
I want to make sure he's got his stories correct. Well, I think that's great. I do. I think, these things are worth a lot of money. I didn't realize when online to see what they cost and what they really are. I mean, you don't know what, it's like go look at a car today for $40,000. I go, what? That's what, the average car is $40,000 for what you want to buy. I'm going, I didn't realize that anymore, but,
Yeah.
and these pieces of equipment, so. Well, anything else, Fred?
No, unless there's any questions, that's the budget, and
Sticking
thank
to
you.
it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd recommend approval of that we take it out of order and approve the 2016-2017 fiscal year budget, and then perhaps take a 5-minute break before we go into the rest of the budget items, or rest of the business items.
Okay. I want to know if you want to include the lighting part in the project and just put it as a line item. If we get to it, we get to it. I personally like to just put it there. If we get to it, we get to it. If we look like we're going whatever, go from there.
That's fine with me.
We've included it in other years, haven't we?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
And then not done it.
okay. Yeah,
It's gotta be approved, yeah.
maybe what, number
So-
10 on that,
Yeah.
on that,
include it.
I would have to say
Oh,
Just need a motion and a second.
it would be a very low priority.
yeah, it'd be like the last one.
It would be something that we'd have to look at the end of the year and say, okay, we've done pretty well this year.
Let's see
Do
where
we
it's
want-
at.
We've had a banner year at the port, and
Right.
Okay.
I'll make that motion, or do
Make
you
a
want to
motion?
I'll make that motion, that we include up to $70,000, or whatever the figure was, I think it was
75, I think.
75,000 in the budget.
Okay. Second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 So that would bring us to the approval of the 2016-2017 fiscal year budget as, well, now it's gotta be as
Amended.
modified.
Need time to modify that? You just want to add,
Just add it, right?
Have to add 70,000 to the,
Fred,
75,000?
Fred, let me ask you one question. I
Yeah.
think maybe I've asked this question before. At the end of our budget year, okay, in the March, if we have $150,000 or $200,000 left in our budgeted line items from this year, does that money go into our general fund account?
we're not like a school where,
Mhm.
you know, where at the end of the year, each line has to go to zero.
Yeah.
And then there's either
Close your
a
books on-
surplus or a.
Yeah.
That's not the way our budget works. The way our budget works is we're self-supporting.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we have more revenue than expenses, then it adds to our reserves.
That's my question.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter if we have more revenue than budgeted, if our expenses are higher also.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
any bottom line goes to reserves, yes.
Agreed. Thank you.
Yes, but not variances from budget,
Mhm.
you know, even though maybe
Yeah.
they're the same thing. But we do not balance out every single account like a school does to zero. This is more like a business.
this is, because the revenue side, you never know what it is. All of a sudden, you sell the land over here,
Mhm.
John's got a grain guy coming at John or whatever. I mean, you know, a company comes in, all of a sudden that changes everything.
Right.
It changed everything. I mean, so,
Okay, thanks. I'll move that. I'll move that we approve the 16. The only thing I'm gonna say is I appreciate all your hard work and stuff that you did to get this budget ready a week ahead of time, and the entire staff. And
yeah.
to me, it's a pretty ambitious budget. I think we've got some unknowns out there, and just hopefully that we have that year that we're expecting.
Well, that's what budgets do. They tell you where you gotta go, and you gotta get there. That's what you gotta do. Well, I say the same thing to everybody. I mean, you get to the end of the year and you say, well, it's not the end of the fiscal year, but it's the year that you make these type of plans. You say, what really did happen? And the budgets tell you exactly what did happen. It tells you what the economy did or what we didn't do. And if you, like you, Fred, as CMA, whatever, you'd say, this is what really did happen. And you say, I'm gonna make different changes to work toward it. And I guess that's your expertise to say, this is where we need to put our money and do what we need to do. I too realized when I looked at all the numbers and things, you start to realize the complexity of what we're doing here. It's getting much more complex. And we have to adjust ourselves to do that if this organization wants to grow. I mean, if we need to grow we have to grow in a way that it's fiscally possible, and we'll do it the best we can. So to our staff, I want to thank them for, the hard work for the whole year to this point. The year isn't over with yet, but it's, this is where we're at. And I like to call us team, because this is a team thing. And from this side of the table to your side, you want to congratulate being part of the team and grow toward that. So.
What's too bad, I know we're on camera, I know people can view these meetings, and you just wonder how many people actually do view it, and it's too bad that there's not press here, especially in this item, because of how hard we've worked to get it, and the important questions that this board has asked from our staff, and it's kind of disheartening a little bit that way as a board member, because you know, it's very important. We do take it seriously and stuff, and it's just too bad that there's not press here to give us a positive outlook to the people out there, what we're actually doing. And that's been one of our downfalls since day one, and I don't know if it'll ever change, but that's my 2 cents.
Doug, I've asked a couple of the press people, they said they don't go to meetings at all anymore.
Oh, I know.
They figure they can get everything online by the next day and do, which, like you say, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate. But I
Yeah.
guess that's what the,
I'd just like to say, and echo what everybody else has said, you guys have done a really good job this year, you know? I mean, I know you all and everybody in this room, at sometimes have felt like, hey, we're the people spinning the plates, right? Because you got so many things going.
That's a good one, yeah.
Because you got so many things going at once. And as Sam said, it's been a real team effort, people have pitched in. And I'd also like to say, hey, it's been, I'm not leaving anyway, but it's a pleasure working with a group of people we're working with, especially when there's only 5 of us.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of things that we've had to do collectively as board members to make sure this thing goes in the right
Stays
direction.
on the-
So it's been a pleasure for me to be, associated with this board.
Maybe Bartlett.
I'd echo the same thing. The only difference I'd have to say is that I didn't know when the right time would be, but tomorrow I will provide a written copy. That today will be my last meeting. I anticipate taking another position tonight that will be in direct conflict with me serving on the board. And once I do that, obviously, I will have to terminate. I know I said I would serve till the end of the year, which I did, but it's been hard with 5 people. I don't know how you'll do it with 4, but even though there's times where I think, yeah, we've provided hard questions, it's been in the best interest of the Bridgeport Authority, and I've enjoyed my time. So thank you, and I wish you luck as you embark on the future, because there's many exciting things going on.
Thank you for your service on behalf of the authority.
Yes, thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Well, I do think, Steve, I know, because your personal life, whatever, and your professional life has been a sacrifice to stay on for the last year and almost 2 years, that you want to make decisions to do other things, and you stay here with us. I appreciate it very much. Your talents are well appreciated. So we're gonna go back to.
Well, quick time check.
We have a motion.
We have
You haven't
about,
voted on it.
Yeah,
You
we
got a
voted.
motion on the
He's
floor.
got, I know that, but I mean,
Okay.
just, so I need a second. I'll make a second. The budget. Any further questions, comments? Okay. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Barlow?
Yes.
Mr. Reagan?
Yes.
Mr. Lamache?
Yes.
Mr. Lockwood?
Yes.
Ms. Brennan?
Yes.
I'm going to excuse myself for a minute and go tell Karen she can send out the division of budget. They wanted it last Friday. I put them out for Wednesday, and I,
don't forget to do the one modification.
yeah, we'll do the one modification. But thank you. It's due December 31st, but they want it December 4th.
Of course.
Go figure.
We'll do.
Thank you, Fred.
That's okay. Chamber of Commerce.
Where am I in this thing? Hopefully dying.
We're going A2, are we?
Well, I just accidentally hit the wrong button, and now I'm back. So, yes, the next one would be A2, which should be,
Where are we at?
Chamber of Commerce?
A2, general administration.
there we go. Let me just get situated here, apologize. Okay, agenda item A2 is approval of a lease supplement with the Greater Ogdensburg Chamber of Commerce at the rates, terms, and conditions you see before you for here in the Bridge Building. Term January 1, 2016 through December 31, 2017.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Further questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item up is approval of a retention agreement of Hancock and approval of retention of Hancock and Estabrook, New York State Public Employees Fair Employment Act, New York Civil Service Law, sections 200 through 2014. More commonly known as the Taylor Law, contains certain duties, responsibilities, and authority as chief legal officer of each public employer. This resolution designates Hancock and Estabrook as that chief legal officer.
Any price of that, Wayne?
No, this is strictly just a designation.
Mm. I'll move that.
I'll second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be one of those rare times where something with a jury doesn't cost anything. Sorry.
Put his name on it. Gosh, to put his name on it.
Sure Frank isn't here to defend himself.
Next up is agenda A4, this approval of a collective bargaining agreement with the OBPA Employees Association. We opened negotiations back 3 months prior to the end of the last contract, and we were successful in negotiations. Many hours, many issues associated with that. We worked through everything, and we are where we are. We reached agreement. CSEA ratified it last week. Highlights of the agreement. Let me be specific. Ratified it on Thursday last week. The agreement's a 3-year agreement. It runs from April 1st, 2015 through 3/31/2018. Highlights of the agreement, there's a health insurance, which is not a specified plan, but it's health insurance with contribution levels as follows. For the employer pays $71.64 per employee for the single, $12,179 employee and child, $14,328 per employee per year for employee and spouse, and $20,417 employee per year for family. This effectively allows the authority to maintain the cap without all the complex, I don't want to call it nonsense, but all the complex iterations we have to go through there. Compensation, the salary increase would be 1% in year 1, which is effectively gone by, 3% year 2, 4% in year 3. The other material change is employees can earn and accumulate up to 1,320 hours of sick leave credits and can use those credits towards retirement, consistent with what's going on at the state. It does include shift differentials for toll collectors. It's a shift differential of 35 cents per hour for 4 p.m. to midnight, 35 cents per hour for midnight to 8 a.m., and 25 cents per hour for 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. shift. This also does allow maintenance employees to receive a $550 annual clothing uniform allowance, and that allows us to eliminate a cost here from a vendor that everybody dislikes. So positive things all the way around.
They purchase that themselves and show us the receipt, or how's that work? We provide, you pay?
We pay it twice a year in 2 installments. I think one of those dates is April 1st, I think.
Okay, so in other words, should I expect toll booth operators to have a uniform on?
No, this is maintenance employees now.
Maintenance employees, okay.
Toll booth is already covered.
Okay.
Is this retroactive?
Yes, it's retroactive to the beginning of the contract.
April 1st.
Let me get you a specific answer on that. Bear with me here just a second. And of course, the 2 people I really need to thank on this from the OBPA side of things are in the room, but Fred Morrow and Frank Capello have put in countless hours on this. There it is. Authority will provide to maintenance employees $550 per year, split evenly between April 1 and October 1, to provide their own work attire. Uniform design work attire shall be decided by the Labor Management Committee.
Will they, it's retroactive, will they get that check before the first of the year, or?
That's what we're aiming for.
this? Okay, all right. I'll move it.
I'll second.
More highlights, or that's,
What's that?
Is
No,
that-
that's it.
oh,
That's
okay.
it. That highlights, everything else is either, technical or slight language changes, but nothing material.
Let me say this, I know there was hard work behind the scenes, whatever, and I'll tell you, the previous contract before this one, I think our employees went overboard to help us out with some of the situations, whatever. I think they're, again, our staff people for the hard work they do. Fair contracts are always good, win-win contracts are always good, and I think sometimes it takes a while to get to that win-win situation, whatever, and I think this is a good contract. I call it a win-win. And so, clerk call the roll?
Mr. Reagan?
Yes.
Mr. Lamacha?
Yes.
Mr. Laughlin?
Yes.
Ms. Breen?
Yes.
Mr. Barlow?
Yes.
Next up is approval of contracts for the passenger terminal facility. As you were, we opened the bids. We had the results of the bid. I apologize, as follows. Total project is 3.6 million and change. On the general construction side, low bid was Murnane at 2,834,200. Plumbing, Norwood Plumbing, 126,700. HVAC is Hidestone Mechanicals at 238,000. And electrical is Dow Electric at 441,069.
Plus we have, on top of that, what we've approved today for McFarland Johnson, right?
That is a separate contract.
Separate.
Yeah,
It relates to the same,
Relates to the
same project,
thing.
yes.
Okay. All right. Yep. Thanks.
You're welcome.
The labor force that Renee's gonna use, is that union labor?
It's my understanding Murnane is a union contractor, thank you, out of both Plattsburgh and Utica.
To let the record show that we're very pleased with that.
Hopefully we do get some local guys, because I was at a meeting the other night, and one of the sidebar discussions was our existing airport project, not using local people, so I just,
We've had a couple people come in and ask to.
if we can, if that happens, that's gonna be great.
Well, I think the record should show that a federal funded project has different criteria to reach that we have no control over.
I understand that. I'm just relaying.
I know. And we relayed that to the
Yes, we have.
contractors
Yep.
too,
Just wanted to make sure that the public knew that.
and me too.
Let me also just interject here if I could. I'd also like to thank local labor because we have asked for their support extensively through this project. And with the federal projects, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And this particular case, it looks like we have a union contractor on there, and we're glad to see that.
Absolutely.
Well, one thing is they're taking a lot of stone out of their quarry.
Yes, there were over 700 trucks this week, I think.
700 trucks this week of stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been behind 200 of them. You can't.
I think I have too.
Listen,
Got it in your windshield yet?
I can say I was coming back from Bacchus the other day, and I came down Linden Street, and there was one of the trucks going to the landfill. He pulled over. I'm saying, what is he doing? Right? And all of a sudden I look up there, and there was two big rocks in the middle of the road. The guy get out and picked them up, threw them in the truck. So anyway, it's just,
Speaking of rocks, there was a rock the size of this table. The guy with the loader took it and put it in the back one of the belly loaders, whatever. I would talk about an artist taking that thing and lifted it and put it in there, and the guy took it across and dumped it someplace. I don't know. Hopefully in Steve's front yard. Well, he's listening. Actually, somebody would like a stone like that in their front yard.
Yeah.
Based on the results of the bid and McFarland Johnson's review, we're recommending approval.
I'll make that motion.
Go ahead, Maura.
I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion? I'm excited about this project. Roll call, please.
We're gonna start with you last time, didn't it?
I think you start with Gavin,
Yeah,
didn't
Mr.
Yeah,
Barlow.
that's what I thought, so it'd be, no, it'd be Mr. Lamacha,
you? Yes.
Mr. Laughlin,
yes.
Ms. Breen,
Yes.
Mr. Barlow.
Yes.
And Mr. Reagan.
Yes.
Next up is change order with Marcy Excavation. This change order was reviewed with the Facilities Committee the other day. A note on this change order, this is something that would have been in the terminal project, but was moved over to the parking lot side of the project because it made more sense to do it there, and also we obtained efficiencies by doing that. The total is $67,460. It should be noted that's not new money that's associated with that. And what does it do? It installs some pipe and relocates an existing water line below the frost line. It installs some additional water pipe. It installs some sewer pipe and relocates a propane tank.
I'll make that motion.
Second, Steve? Thank you. Now, this, will you get this money back when it goes to the other side of the project? Am I correct on that?
No, this part of the project is a non-AIP eligible project, which means 100, that's translation for 100% on our dime.
I thought that was just the opposite. I thought because we moved it from one side and went to the other side, I misunderstood that.
No, the terminal is 100% on our
Right, I know
dime,
that.
and the parking lot is 100% on
But
our
I
dime.
thought this piping and all this stuff was part of the,
It would have been part of the terminal project. It was moved over to the parking
Still
lot
wouldn't-
project.
oh, okay, you know what, I'm sorry, I was misunderstood because I was thinking of something else. Okay, you're right. Any further questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item B4 is approval of agreement with Burr National Controls. This is for the facility commander card access system out there. This is one of those unique situations where it's cheaper if we do it as opposed to having a contractor do it, because we can get the New York State contract pricing that you see there of $37,993.24. So it's recommended that we do a direct purchase of this with Burr National Controls.
I'll move it.
Second. Further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item B5 requires a quick bit of background. We currently are a class, help me out with the class, Steve, for the airport?
Class 4,
Class 4 airport. We are
Index
going,
A.
Class 4 Index A, and we're going to a Class 1 Index B. We are going to a Class B because Index B is what is required by Legion. Our truck is equipped, our current truck is equipped for Index A. Index B, the trigger is 1,500 gallons of water. It's a physically different truck than what we have. Therefore, we need to find a truck. Well, we just so happened to find one. We found a used one down at Elmira Airport, and we submitted an offer on that truck of $52,500. And what that is, it's for a 1990 E1 Titan 4x4 ARC vehicle. And the importance of this truck is you have to have it here on site and ready to go to check the box to get your FAA airport operation certificate upgraded. You have to start that process, and that's what this does. Did I miss anything, Steve?
Nope.
Well, I got a sidebar type of thought here, and not to belabor dialogue, but let me ask you this question. Now that we are going to qualify for a change of classification of airport, does that put us in a different bargaining position to talk to other airlines that come here?
Well, we have the capability as a Class 1 Index B airport, which is better than a Class 1 Index A airport.
Right.
We have better capability.
Right, what I'm saying to you is, if I go to somebody and I say, so-and-so airline, whatever,
They
we
have a
are now
similar size.
classified this way,
They have a
not
similar,
this other way, that they'll have different ears.
they
to
have a
listen to.
similar sized jet, and they're similar to what Legion has.
Okay.
You shouldn't have an issue, but if they're a larger one, then the same issue takes over. You have to move up to match that plane.
Okay.
But generally, I think you're in the same ballpark, yes.
Okay,
I
well,
would say
mean,
yes.
start to understand the classifications where we're at, okay.
Right.
Good
So
thing then.
I also want to refresh memories here too. We just recently purchased a truck, fire truck. And I don't want you to get the wrong impression. The previous engineer didn't give us bad information. What they told us was true. It does cover a Class 1 Index A airport. But Allegiant requires a B. And because they require a B, that means a different piece of equipment is needed.
So what are we doing with the one we have?
We can still use it.
Still use it?
Still use it.
Okay,
It was paid for by the FAA.
okay.
I mean, if there's a serious
Yeah.
situation, you
We want it.
can send both trucks out.
Right, we want.
Yeah, it's not just the one.
A couple of disclaimers on this one. We do know we need additional parts and pieces when it gets here, some hoses, some general things like that are needed with it. And in addition, there's an unknown cost of putting it on a lowboy and transporting it here. We haven't got that cost nailed down, but that's an expense item as opposed to the actual purchase of the truck.
Sure not driving it up?
20 minutes at a time.
You got big heavy tires, and we said if you tried to drive it, the tires would heat up
It's
and they
10,
would
it's
just fall.
10 and a half feet wide,
Yeah.
so up 81. I think.
A little difficult.
Well, depending, if you get a snowstorm, you'd be fine, I guess.
Turn on
Well,
all
late
the
anyway,
lights.
you turn on the lights.
Turn on the
The
lights.
combination of the snow and every slow traffic, you'd be fine.
Yeah,
We'll pick the snow warning.
so we'll pick the first snowy day.
Right. Turn the lights on.
Big I'll move that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is C1. This is approval of a lease supplement agreement with West End Asset Management for 500 square feet of space in the first industrial building at the rates, terms, and conditions you see before you.
They're already here, right, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not right. I'll move it.
I'll second.
Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Item C2 is approval of an industrial building lease with Zonta Club of Ogdensburg for storage space in the first industrial building at the rates, terms, and conditions you see before you.
They gonna store stuff in there? Is that?
I believe so.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item up is, oops, clicked on the wrong one here, hang on.
Veteran Affairs.
You bet. Agenda item C3. Approval of industrial building lease with New York State Division of Veterans Affairs, 850 square feet of space in the fourth industrial building for a 5-year term at the rates, rates, conditions, and terms you see before you.
Shouldn't that be January 5th, 2016?
Yes. January 1st.
It is now?
Yeah.
5-year lease, good.
I'll move that.
He'd fix that down to the bottom.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Who passed the motion, I'm sorry?
I did.
Okay.
Any further questions, comments? All in favor? Very good.
Next up is C4, approval of contract with Coakley's. FedEx is one of the authority's tenants in the fourth industrial building, requires new carpet as part of the lease agreement. We received proposals. The lowest proposal was Coakley's. We're recommending that we go with Coakley's.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Further questions, comments? Same quality carpet, I mean, obviously same thing.
Carpet tile, yeah.
I just noticed the Ludington Hardware is WBE certified. We're obviously within our percentages and whatever, since
Yeah, we're around 50%.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item D1 is approval of agreement with security at the Port of Ogdensburg, another 6-month term, expiring on May 31st, 2016. There is no rate change from the previous agreement.
I'll move it.
Second. Further questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Passed.
Next up is D2. It's approval of a grant offer from the state of New York Department of Transportation. This is a $10 million for the dock wall extension.
Mr. Lawfer, I'll need your signature on the certified resolution for that. I have it on the desk.
Any questions?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I got my thing messed up on the
I did too.
Next up is D3, approval of a port handling agreement with Greenfield. Handling dried distilled grains at the Port of Ogdensburg at the rates and terms you see before you.
Wait a second, Russ.
I'll move it.
I pushed the button here, oh my God. All right, give me back in there. Where, nothing? Hmm?
Share it with me.
Oh, sure, there we go. Boom. Where am I? Okay, there we go.
You really got all the way out
Yeah, I did. There we go.
there. Against the agenda.
Oh, I lost it all.
2 clicks.
3 clicks.
2 quick ones.
All right, where are we getting? Sorry,
So I'm good.
I'm good, Russ.
No problem.
Doug
Yeah.
made a motion.
Doug made the motion. Can we get a second? Oh, I made the motion, didn't
No, I made the motion.
I? You made it, okay. Did I second?
No.
Okay, anybody second it?
I'll second.
Okay, there we go. What number are we on? Wait till I get caught up here.
We're on D3 right now. Waiting for,
D3.
waiting for a vote.
Okay. No, I just want to just catch the speed here, whatever. I'm sorry, folks. I know you're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere yet. Pick it up. Any further questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That was easy.
Now we're going to D4, buddy.
That was easy.
Why would you?
That was easy.
Well, no, what did they kick you?
That
Why?
was,
What did they say? Riding the horse and hit the horse. Somebody had to hit the horse. And thank you.
D4 is a port handling agreement with Ritchie Feed and Seed for the rates, terms, and conditions you see before you.
There we go. Yep. Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second. Further questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's very good.
Item E1 is such other matters, payment of unused time, Director of Operations. Basically, due to the excessive work demands at the port and at the airport as of late, the Director of Operations, Steve Lawrence, has done a great job, but been unable to use 102.5 hours of vacation and personal time before his anniversary date this year. It's a recommendation of management that Mr. Lawrence be paid 102.5 vacation personal time hours prior to December 31st, 2015.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Why should I vote for this, Mr. Lawrence?
I knew you were gonna do this.
No,
didn't you?
no. In all seriousness, no, whatever. I mean, the sacrifice that you made in your, to make things happen and do things in the right way, that, was on a extraordinary on your part, and it's well deserved that You know, I guess I'm honored that you asked, as much as, you know, for us to give it to you, that you thought to ask, and I appreciate that you did ask. It shows that you're worthy of what you deserve, so this is an unordinary type of situation, and I fully believe that you're well deserved of that.
I
Appreciate your extra time.
respecting my request.
Doesn't mean I'm voting for it, but I just wanted to tell you.
There's four of us doing so well right now.
How is it eloquent enough? All those in favor?
Aye.
That was the best aye I heard. Did you see that? That was a
I heard
strong
it, I
one.
heard it.
That was a strong aye. There you go.
All right, D2 is approval of joint representation of the authority and the executive director and the deputy executive director is what it should say there. Short version of this, Mr. Murphy of Volatus Law Firm represents the authority board and the executive director in all matters relating to the New York State OIG investigation. And I apologize, I forgot his name. Robert Wells will represent Mr. Morrow as this Inspector General investigation wraps up.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Any further questions, comments? The only comment I made is this is part of something that's been ongoing. We're looking at a conclusion of what's our budgetary and auditing process, whatever, and obviously I think our executive and deputy director need representation in these type of situations, whatever. It's been recommended they do, and I think it's essence our responsibility to do what we're supposed to do, due diligence for them. So we'll go from there, and we'll bring back exactly what the situation is in our process. It's whatever it is, probably be a recommendation of some sort, but legal representation is always a smart way of going about doing this.
There's an important thing I forgot to mention here that I need to mention for the record too, that the board knows of no actual, real, or potential conflict of interest between the board and the executive director.
Okay.
That's the purpose of this resolution.
And also, Mr. Murphy will be representing the board as well.
Yes, that's
Yes.
correct.
Further questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the regular business of the border station. Or, I'm sorry, of the, see, I had border station on mine, of the Bridge and Port Authority. There is a need for a border station meeting.
Well, we jumped over all the reports and stuff. And so the only thing I've got to ask, as far as we've covered all that, is our schedule of upcoming board meetings. Where are we with what we need here?
Mr. Chairman, I will not be available on January 6th. I will be in Helsinki, Finland.
Could we go with you? Well, I'm
What's
actually-
one more? Once I got everybody going.
As excuses
I will-
go,
I
you
will-
always
I-
come up with awesome ones.
Yeah,
What works for you?
I'm back on the evening of the 6th, so anything after that is fine.
Okay. Well, with Mr. Barlow leaving us, whatever, well, obviously we have a real issue in front of us,
Right.
unless the Senate moves forward and gives us somebody to fulfill these spots on the board. We'll have to be somewhat, obviously, I know Mona has a professional life that she has to take care of, that pays the bills. And yourself, whatever, I think we have to be extremely flexible here to do things until we get exactly where and maybe that'll be for another year. I have no idea how this will all play out. That's why I respect everybody here who stays on to, without us, we don't do business in the way we want to do business. We can't hold everybody hostage here that need to do things, whatever. What would work for you?
I could do the next day.
I'm not back then, so how about the week,
The following week.
following week? Okay, let's everybody check their calendar.
The only thing in the following week, it'd have to be Monday. I'm actually got another commitment on the weekend, on the 13th of January to the 15th of January.
so before that.
So I can do Monday, is what, that Monday and Tuesday, the following, that week.
Tuesday's probably better for staff, isn't it? That you at least
Doesn't
come.
matter, we're here.
Well, I'm not sure what reports and stuff, you walk in cold on a Monday morning, is that okay? What's up?
I think Tuesday would be better, but.
All right.
Actually, Tuesday would be better for me too.
What's that date?
What date is that? That's
That's the
the
12th?
That
Tuesday
is-
the 12th?
Tuesday the 12th.
So noted.
Okay. All right,
We're doing 8:30?
8:30.
That would be, also that afternoon would be a facilities committee meeting, right?
Yes, that's
the
right.
second Tuesday, so,
Yeah.
all right.
Anything else we have for this meeting?
No, sir.
Okay. Need a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Do you want to give it the last, get your name on the, give it your last breath, a second.
Steve, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve, we're gonna miss you, buddy.
Appreciate
All right,
it.
good luck.
I would have hung in there, except I can't.
Well, you did well, stay as long as you did.
No, just go
Appreciate
back
it.
and see.
All in favor?
Aye.
Where's the voter station? Is it on here somewhere?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
Where you
all.
going?
it's
Hudson?
OBSI agenda.
Where you going this time?
If you go back,
You see the list?
if you go back to the
Just,
folder,
I
if
still
you
have
go
a
to
little
12,
bit of
it'll go to
negotiation.
OBSI, I think.
Yeah, it says OBSI
What school
agenda.
again?
Huh?
School
Go
again?
back, no, you're in the,
Huh?
you're in the
School.
board.
Yeah.
Go here. OBSI.
Gotta get that
You guys won't
negotiation.
be out of this meeting before I'm
Everybody else
appointed
found it?
anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you good?
Good luck, you said.
Okay, we have a change order. I'll wait just a second for everybody to get there. I want to jump in. Did you actually call that order yet, or no?
Oops.
What's that?
The board station?
No, we did not call that to order.
Yeah, we can-
Where are we? Us?
OBSI,
OBSI?
go back one and you'll see it on the,
I look at the board. Why don't I look at the board? That was the solution to worry about me.
Yeah.
Just look up there.
Look up there, I was gonna tell you that 3 or 4 times.
I can't see the travel, no, I can't see the travel from here.
I haven't gotten there yet either, but I'm probably not worth waiting a lot of time on.
I don't know.
Those are shared.
Quick time check, we have our conference call at 3:30.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I figured, that was.
Yep, I'm fine.
I'm fine, buddy, I'm looking up there for the last one.
I didn't try.
when you stop at night, these would go until about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
I love it.
All later than that.
That's something, I mean, yeah, they can, they get their phone driving home.
The Waddington hardware one. It's the only agenda item.
Well, Jerry, you want to sit here?
No.
I might need you. Are we ready to move this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay, we're still on camera?
Yep, we're still on camera.
Oh,
Just
okay, I
need to
thought we were
call it
off
to
camera or
order.
whatever, okay. It's December 10th, it's 3:30 PM. I'm going to call the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority Board meeting to order. We have some business items, Mr. Davis, you want to take us through that?
Certainly, there's only one item, that's approval of change order with Waddington Hardware. And in July 2015, the authority contracted with Waddington Hardware for the installation of new tile flooring in the border station. Cost at that time was not to exceed $19,390.85. It was based on estimated quantity of materials. The project's complete, actual quantities have been identified, and the difference in cost is $6,641.13. A change order has been submitted, bringing the total contract price to $26,032.28. Recommending approval of the change order with Waddington Hardware.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any comments, Steve?
No, just for everybody's sake, they changed around, they wanted, the kitchen was originally gonna be carpet, and they changed that to the safety flooring for cleanliness. And being that it was coming out of the reserves, it's their, kind of their money too. and they asked to do that, so I had the contractor negate the carpet tile and replace it with safety flooring. So it was, rather than, they all agreed to the carpet tile originally for the kitchen area, and it just didn't make sense, so that's the main reason for the change, so just wanted to let you know the reason that is so
What
odd.
was wasn't the cove molding like $3,300 or something? Why
Yeah.
would that have been just because they changed
Yep.
what that for, 3,300
Well,
feet?
no, what it was the estimate, after you put in the safety flooring and everything, not being a carpet installer, those quantities were what we gave them.
Oh.
And basically, they couldn't reuse a lot of that, which I thought they could in transitionally. So, actually that number was low on my part. So that's why we asked for a unit price.
Sorry I asked that question.
We're all having a
Just
discussion.
wondering.
Can we re-vote on this?
The tape measure broke, I don't know. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the regular business for OBSI.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.